Okay, Nick and Andy, big game in the Premier League. London derby at the Emirates. Arsenal against Crystal Palace. Top of the table Arsenal against a very dangerous Palace side. What are your thoughts on this, Nick Mendola? Because this has the potential to be one of the games of the season.
It sure does. I love the idea of Palace having a week to gear up for this. Oliver Glasner has flexed his tactical and motivational muscles so well for us. And the fact that Palace's depth isn't so deep works when you're playing a team that has to worry about their depth. I love what's come out of the back. I was looking at stats today, and again, U.S. men's national team honk. There's some bias here, but if you look at the defensive intervention records in the Premier League, Tyler Adams and Chris Richards, of course, being at Palace, are both high up the list. Richards, Lacroix, Guehi has been a magnificent backline, and it has allowed those forwards like Munoz, Mitchell to zip up and down the field. This is a real challenge for Arsenal, who wants to just keep a game in control and not be threatened. So, like you said, all the ingredients for a beauty.
Andy, in terms of Arsenal, looks solid, relied heavily on set pieces, aren't conceding a lot of goals, obviously got the job done at Fulham last weekend. Atletico Madrid in midweek in the Champions League is tough. I mean, rotation is going to be key for Mikel Arteta, so I'm intrigued to see how heavily he leans into that, given that he has done a lot of rotation so far this season, which is maybe one of the big criticisms of him over the last few years, that he's run the same players into the ground, and that's why the title bids and the Champions League bids keep falling short late in the season. So, a lot of options for Arsenal, but intriguing to see how he's going to rotate and fix this team in terms of who starts all of these games over the next few days.
Yeah, Arsenal are going to have to score a couple, maybe a few, to win this one against Palace. By the way, the XG Kings of the Premier League, they're more than 2 goals better. Eight games into the season, so small sample size, relatively speaking, but they're dominating everybody in terms of just volume of chances that they create. A lot of it's down the right side with Munoz, and so Arsenal are going to be tested in ways that maybe they haven't been, and there are going to be periods of this game where they lose a little bit of control of possession and the pace of play, and it'll be very interesting to see how they respond to that, because just about every game that they've played this season has been really on their terms. It's a slow pace of play. There's a lot of time in between the ball goes out and it comes back in, and set pieces and everything, and it's just they've managed games very well, kind of through brute force almost. But Palace have this way of playing that's going to stretch them, and we've not really seen Arsenal in that situation so far this season. So to your point, Joe, maybe one of the games of the season. Bournemouth Palace over the weekend, 3-3, one of the games of the season. This might just be who Palace are, and so you probably want to tune in this weekend and buckle up.
Oh, definitely. Palace, the great entertainers, right, Nick Mendola? I think obviously they got the Conference League in midweek, so they're going to have to rotate. Their squad isn't as large, anywhere near as large as Arsenal or deep, but that's my only concern about Palace at the moment this season, is that maybe they'll run out of a bit of steam at some point. But at the moment, they're just building off that confidence of winning the FA Cup, being in Europe, having a strong start to this season. I mean, what's the ceiling for them? Do you realistically think they can finish in the top 7 or 8 this season? And I mean, I'm looking at it, they're probably right among the favourites to win the Conference League. And at some point, they might have to kind of focus their energy on that rather than doing one in the league. But for right now, they're playing well against the big boys. Like Andy said, a very unique style of play. The system, the players all fit seamlessly. So they are a great team to get on board with now, if you haven't already, and watch them for the rest of the season, because they go for it. They know what they are. They love what they are. And then when you've got Mateta up top scoring the goals and leading the line like he does, they're a joy to watch.
Yeah, I actually will pencil them in. I will pencil them into the 7-8 sort of range. I thought you were going to ask me if they could compete for the top 5. And I think because of the conference, like we've seen this with the Premier League teams, West Ham when they did it, et cetera, they'll be favored to win, if at least make the final. And frankly, when it comes down to it, it might be easier to get into the Europa League that way than through the league table. So you're right. I do think at some point there will become a prioritization. So unless they get upset, 7-8, I'm comfortable saying they will finish there.
Andy, in terms of this game, how do you think it will finish? Obviously, again, we talked about it, busy week for all of these teams in European and Premier League action right now after the international break, etc. There's going to be some weird results, I feel like, in the Premier League over the next few weeks. But what do you have for this game, mate?
I'm gonna go. Ooh, this is a tough one. I think it's gonna be 2-2. It
Ooh.
just there is something about this Palace team. They struggle putting some of those chances away. I think they rank last in non-penalty expected goals minus goals, and so like they create a ton of volume. And if Mateta's not scoring a hat trick the way that he did on the weekend, and probably should have had the winner, let's be honest, deep into stoppage time, then I do worry a little bit. But the way that they've been able to not just keep going, but build something new and reinvent themselves in 2 summers, losing Eze and Michael Elise back to back, 2 players a couple years ago that just were everything to that team. Hopefully, fingers crossed for Palace's sake, they can get that Glasner extension done and keep him around.
Yeah, that's huge, isn't it, Nick? And I think I was going to go with 2-2, but I'm going to go 2-1 to Arsenal. I just think that there is, again, just that ability to grind out results with this Arsenal team this season. Might not, they'll try and make it a bit more boring and less Palace of a game, if you will. But they'll have their hands full trying to stop Palace with these counters, with these attacks from out wide. And I am intrigued to see what kind of player Arteta starts out at left back or right back. Might be a game to bring Lewis Skelly in for how he would match up against some of these Palace players and his particular skill set. But yeah, it's not going to be easy. But I think Arsenal are just going to get it over the line 2-1. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I'm going to rain on everybody's parade. I'm going to say 2-0 to Arsenal. I had kind of blanked on when that Conference League game was going to be. That's 2 more days rest that Arsenal will have than Palace. Palace's depth, a huge question mark. So that actually flips the way I'm viewing it. So thanks for, you guys always guide my predictions away from where I thought they would be. This is team 2-0. This is what Arsenal does.
And just in terms of another storyline in this one quickly before we finish, Eze obviously playing against Crystal Palace. I think that will be really intriguing, right, Andy, in terms of where he's been playing for Arsenal, slightly different role in central midfield, but we know he's so good on the left or floating around. And I think, he is a hero at Palace for what he did and helped them win the FA Cup. And it'll be really nice to see the reaction he gets from the Palace fans, because there's a way to leave a club, and Eze exemplified the right way to do it. And it's great to see him now flourishing for Arsenal and for England.
Yeah, I don't want to, pretend there's a ton of pressure on him in this very moment right now, but this is kind of a big period for his Arsenal career, isn't it? With Odegaard out of the team and really the creative hub for them. If they were to go on a little bit of a slide without Odegaard in the team, and they're not scoring a ton and they're not creating a ton, as they generally don't, then I do think he might be one of the first players that gets looked at and says, well, you're new here, you cost all this money, you're supposed to be the one that's filling in for Odegaard in the team. And so he, wouldn't it be poetic if, against Palace, he has kind of that breakout game, because that I think we're still waiting to see from him in an Arsenal shirt.
Yeah, we've seen glimpses, but this would probably be the rare case of a player scoring in the Premier League and being applauded by both sets of fans in the stadium. So, he is that popular still with Crystal Palace fans. All right, head over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com for all the latest on Arsenal against Crystal Palace.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.